All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, my name's Joey Ramos. I'm just one of the leaders of the North Texas Tableau user group.
And my name is Tim Cady. I've been helping Joey with the user group for about a year and a half now.
Yeah, so I took this user group over, I believe, the beginning of 2018, and for the first year, it was primarily just myself, and it's a lot of work. So, I spoke to a few other individuals who lead user groups and realized that, it's best to have a committee. And so I met Tim towards the end of 2018, and Tim has a lot to bring to the table. I've been using Tableau for a while, very strong user and very active on Twitter and the Tableau community. And so I invited Tim to come on board. And so Tim has been helping me for the last year and a half now, which has been great. And we got to thinking that we would like to build a sort of a bigger leader committee. So today we would like to announce our newest committee member, Stephen Shoemaker.
Hey, Joey, thank you for that. A little bit about myself. My name is Stephen Shoemaker. I've been using Tableau for a while in my work. I work currently in the analytics department at WeWork, primarily focused on learning analytics, so tracking the course completions, tracking how our learners in our company are able to complete work, and as well as making sure that the work that we're doing is having real returns in our business. Prior to that, I spent 6 years in the military as an intelligence analyst, so both here in the United States and overseas. So I'm doing a little bit of data analysis there as well. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me better now?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. I'm looking at the chat now. Cool. Yeah, so what I was saying is I spent 6 years in the military doing data analysis as an intelligence analyst. So bringing that kind of experience to bear here, and I'm excited to be part of this team. I live here in Dallas, Texas, so very local, excited to be joining both Joey and Tim.
Yeah. Tim, any thoughts?
No, I just want to say thanks for Stephen. We saw some of his work on Tableau Public and on Twitter. He shared some of his work, and since getting to know Stephen, I kind of find his background really interesting, the military background and how he applies that to data viz. So I think he has a lot to add to the group and a lot to share with the greater community.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very happy to have Stephen on board. All right, so Tim, if you want to introduce the Visitor Studio.
Yeah, so for those of you that are involved in that greater Tableau community, whether it's Tableau Public or Twitter, or even the forums to some degree, know that there's a lot of amazing content out there. There's great blogs, websites, podcasts, these sort of things. So Joey and I were brainstorming a while back on how we could contribute to the community, right? The community that's given us so much, how can we give back? And we came up with this idea of Visitor Studio. It's a little play on the Actor Studio, for those of you that are old enough to remember that. So what we do bi-weekly or monthly, we haven't really decided yet, is sit down with an author, a Tableau Public author, talk a little bit about them, love to hear their backstory. Then we dive into one of their vizzes and reverse engineer some of the features in that viz. So our first guest was Stephen, and his episode's up on YouTube now. So if you ever go to YouTube, search for Visitor Studio. Oh, perfect. You're going to click it. Yeah. And it's about 15 minutes. We try to keep it short, some quick hitters, some good information there. So we encourage you all to go take a look. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. We're going to crank some more of these episodes out pretty soon.
Yeah, so just to sort of reiterate what Tim was saying, there's a lot of good material out there in the Tableau community, a lot of great blogs, but when I try to reverse engineer or follow a blog step by step, sometimes I feel that material is missed or a step may be missed. So what Tim and I wanted to do was sort of just go find those individuals that are creating these great business and sort of just ask them what their inspiration is, what their thought process is. Sometimes, how they do their whiteboarding. And then also talk about a few of the features that are, that they put within the dashboard. And, Stephen has a lot of great material out there. And so, we got with him and said, hey, we'd like you to do the first episode. And he picked this dashboard, the ingredients of happiness. And so I encourage you guys to go out, go to YouTube, search the Visitor Studio, and you guys can watch our first episode. And we try to keep the episodes pretty short. We try to do no more than 15 minutes. A little bit longer just because the reverse engineering and showing you guys how he did one of the features took, it was a little bit more in depth. So we went over a little bit, but no, it's I think it's a great idea. We have our next episode coming up. Daria is part of the team, Voronova. And Tim, who is she featuring?
Lindsay Betzendahl.
Okay, I had you say it because I could never say the last name. But yeah, so we have her. We're going to be filming her the next couple of days, and so she'll be we'll be releasing that episode here, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And we hope to release an episode, I think starting off a couple of times a month, and then maybe once a month after that. But we'll see, because it does take a pretty good amount of effort to get these episodes recorded and edited. So.
For those of you, I don't think we've shared this with our LinkedIn group yet. So for those of you that are on there, we'll share that up there today.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys get a chance to go out and then subscribe to the channel and watch some of the episodes, because you'll get to see how some of the brightest individuals in the Tableau community create their dashboards. Cool. All right, let's move on. Okay, so why are we here? Tim, you can help me with this one as well. There's a lot of great tools, especially data viz, self-service analytics tools out in the community, out in the marketplace. But in my opinion, there's nothing like the Tableau community. For one main reason, it's all about having fun and the willingness to collaborate. Like I said, I mean, if you follow, or like Tim said, if you follow hashtag DataFam, out on Twitter, you'll see all the great work these individuals are posting on their Twitter feeds. So just the willingness to collaborate and share ideas, and the way that everyone wants to have fun. It's definitely one of the benefits of the Tableau community.
Yeah. To being on Twitter and being part of that group, everyone's extremely helpful, right? Everyone wants the best for you and wants you to produce your best work. So if you're kind of on the fence with joining that social media aspect of the community, I would just say take the plunge, go for it. It's advanced my skill set for sure, and helped me answer questions that I wouldn't normally have gotten answered. One thing I also kind of want to point out with this slide in particular, as we talk through this, is Joey, Stephen, and I are really just here to administrate the group, to lead the group. Really, we want this to belong to you, to belong to the community. So if there are things you'd like to see from this group, content you'd like to see, maybe more demos, shoot us a message, let us know. Your feedback does matter. We like to incorporate that as much as possible.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for the help, Tim.
Yeah.
All right, so today's agenda, we've done the introductions. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to speak to our featured guest, Michael Darling, Director of Customer Experience and Customer Experience Business Intelligence at ADT. is going to discuss his journey as well as the tools that ADT leverages to provide value there. Next, we're going to speak with Stephen Shoemaker. He's going to talk about how he sort of whiteboards his Tableau visualizations. I call it whiteboarding. Everyone has a different term for it. I think he calls it wireframing. And then we'll finish with a Tableau tip of the month. There may be a little controversy behind it because when I asked him about it, he was a little like, I don't know if that's really a tip, but I think it's a tip. So I'll introduce it to you guys and let you guys decide. So if there's no questions, let's go ahead and proceed and speak to our featured guest, Michael Darling. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Good. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here today. I know you had a deck together. Did you want to share that or?
Yep, I can do that.
Absolutely. So why I am allowing you to share, I met Michael, excuse me guys. Michael and I used to actually work together at TXU Energy at the time, which is now Vistra. That was probably, wow, 8 years ago, 6 years ago. And I stumbled across his profile on LinkedIn because they were like, hey, you used to work together. And yeah, it turns out now you're a director of customer experience, business intelligence at ADT, and using some pretty cool tools. So thanks for being here today.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me. It's actually my first time joining a user group. So I've always talked about doing it. It's just, I guess it took the invite and the nudge. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks. No, I appreciate it. We appreciate you being here. So go ahead and start out by telling us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your journey.
Sure. Can everyone see my PowerPoint screen?
We can.
Cool. All right. There we go. So yeah, a little bit about me. As Joey said, I lead the CX BI team at ADT. I've been there for 6 months, so fairly new, started in January. Got a wife and 3 boys, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So extremely busy and extremely interesting time right now working from home with all of that going on. So love them, love the family, but it's definitely an interesting time right now. And just some quick notes about my hobbies and interests. Love to read, love books. We'll get into a little bit of that here in a minute. Love to be outdoors, camping, hiking with the boys. It's nice to get them out and get them tired so they sleep well. And love to golf, and of course love Tableau. So very passionate about Tableau, the Tableau community, as Joey said. So that's just a quick blurb about me. Any questions before?
No, that's great. So 3 boys, huh? 5, 2, and 1. I bet you that household is pretty active.
Yes, it is. And if you see one of them run around in the back, let me know. Give me a heads up. They're fairly active right now. So
Very cool. Very cool. Are they playing sports yet?
The oldest one is soccer and getting into baseball, so it's fun. The younger 2 are obviously a little bit too young to take full steam ahead, but they're getting interested, which is fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So next, tell us a little bit about your Tableau journey.
Yeah. So started with Tableau at a previous company in 2014. So right after Vistra, I left Vistra, and at the time the company had Tableau desktop, was not sharing it. It was just for build purposes. Had never played with the tool obviously beforehand, so was really interested in that. And I think the interesting part was at the time it was like, well, how can I make this look like Excel?
Yeah.
So when at the time it was didn't know all the capabilities, it was just like, oh, this is cool. And then 3 years later, at the prior company, I built a BI team basically from scratch. We didn't have it. So my team actually brought, Tableau online to me. I was just unaware of the ability that, online server had. So they brought that to my attention. So still very new in terms of use and knowledge for Tableau. I mean, that's only 3 years experience. That's fairly immature, but kudos to my team. And if any leaders are out there, talk to your team. You'll be surprised what they tell you, right? So they brought it to me. We did a proof of concept with our IT department. They loved it. It worked great. Again, we were the only BI team in the company at the time, and we're able to share, refresh, just some of those basic things that makes it more automated, which is great. And then last year, my first Tableau conference experience was just fantastic, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But as far as the journey goes, in current environment today, Tableau server, and getting introduced to prep, so not a superstar in terms of my team's prep abilities yet, but we're learning it as we speak. So come a long way in a short period of time. Love the product, love the community. Hopefully learn more and grow more.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for all that. So let me ask you, what'd you think of TC19?
Yeah, let me share some slides there too. So yeah, I put together some just positives and negatives. It was my first experience. So anyone that's been there, I'm curious to know if this is a consistent theme or not. And I know this year's was canceled, but positives for me is first time ever in Vegas for me. Probably the last time too. I didn't really, it was cool for one day, and then I was like, okay, I'm ready to stay in the hotel. But a lot of fun. The Tableau community was just impressive. That many people just that passionate about Tableau was just eye-opening. So these user groups, those sessions, it was just the energy was there for sure. Another positive for me, it was a great getaway for the team. We were all very busy, and for us to just step away and go do that as a team was a lot of fun. So great to get to know my team, outside of work a little bit. And then tons of valuable sessions, obviously at the conference. And I've screenshot here my favorite one. Simon and Emma gave a 50 reasons why you should have an analytics COE and how to achieve it. So highly recommend checking that out on YouTube if you haven't. It was, for me, a lot of common sense stuff that you can implement in your team and your organization today. And it really made a big difference and a profound impact on me. And I've been able to implement some of those findings from that session, both at my prior company and current company. So if you haven't checked out that session that's on YouTube, check it out. A lot of good stuff there. Opportunities. So the Tableau community was awesome, but in the hotel, it was very crowded. In between sessions, it was kind of hard to walk at times. The food was subpar, in my opinion. It was just a bunch of cold sandwiches. Didn't love that. I'm a little bit picky there, but and then we paid for a specific lesson. And they had some AWS issues and couldn't do that. They sent out a massive refund, which was cool, but that was unfortunate. And then the last thing I didn't really love was some of the sessions you don't really think about when you register, but when you get in there, it's more about this product and how it works with Tableau instead of specific Tableau use cases or organizational culture related to Tableau. So I wasn't aware of that going in. So I would say hopefully these positives and opportunities can help you guys once Tableau conference comes back. I know with COVID it was canceled, but yeah, some good and some bad. But overall, I loved it.
Yeah. So you guys still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So I think this was my fourth, I think my fourth Tableau user group. I'm sorry, Tableau conference. And yeah, it's definitely getting more crowded. I think the first one I went to was maybe 6,000 people. And now it's up to 20,000, maybe a little over 20,000. Food's never been good. I think this was the first time I ever experienced network outages because I do remember going to some of the sessions, and we didn't have the ability to do some of the hands-on stuff. I think they were having issues with the virtual machines. However we were doing it, we were having issues. But yeah, I definitely love Tableau Conference. Yeah, so hopefully you get a chance to go back.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So let me ask you another question. You mentioned you guys are using Tableau Prep. So are you guys automating those Tableau Prep workflows yet?
Not yet. So that's the Conductor product, right? So the where we are at is, I joined the organization. We have a really good blend of data and creativity. So Prep is going to help bring those two together and not have so many silos. So we've just finished a proof of concept for Prep, and then as recently as next week, we have a meeting with our Tableau rep to talk through a free trial for Conductor, and seeing if that eliminates some of the barriers for us. So I think we're close, but we're in still a proof of concept phase. So really today we're using Prep, but on our local machines just to try it out. But we can definitely see the value that it will provide.
Very cool. Very cool. What kind of data sources are you guys leveraging, connecting to?
Yeah, I'll flip to.
Oh yeah, I guess that leads us into the next slide, huh?
Yeah. So in Tableau Viz fashion, the size of the stack indicates the mostly used at in my team. So you can see Prep Conductor at the bottom right, very small. But most of the data we have is in a SQL Server database, Oracle database. Since we do have Server, we also use Postgres for some of the Tableau Server statistics, who's using, who's viewing. It's a very important part of your user base. So anyone out there, if you have Server and you're not taking advantage of the Postgres database, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Check that out. Talk to your Tableau rep to see if they can elevate that to you to really understand the end user experience there. Tableau, obviously, it's the Viz tool for my team. There's pockets in ADT. ADT is so large that we've got some Power BI folks, but Tableau is the end all be all in terms of visualization for us. Python for some modeling. GitHub code repository. VS Code is our IDE of choice. It's really a bring whatever you want type of team though, but I think VS Code, I've been able to share to share my love for that product, and the team has responded. And then lastly, Google Cloud. It's a very small icon, so we're just now getting introduced to that. We as a company are migrating to Google Cloud, in the next 12 to 15 months. So very early stages, really at the point of just playing with sending and receiving data. Specifically, we'll be mostly using GBQ, Google BigQuery. So pretty excited about that. Prior company, we used Azure, but not enough for me to feel comfortable. So for me, Google Cloud, GCP is kind of that next big thing for me to learn. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I heard good things about it. Actually, have a associator, somebody I talked to on LinkedIn. He was real big into AWS, and I just noticed he also got his Google Cloud certification. And I asked him, I was like, hey, why are you doing this now? And he just says there's nothing like it. Like, was it Google BigQuery?
Yes.
He was saying he's very impressed. He was like, it's the best product out there. So
nice. That's good to know.
I have no experience with it, so I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, from the initial findings, it's making a lot of complex stuff really easy, which is you could tell they thought through use cases very well. So pretty excited about it.
That's awesome. So let me ask you a couple more questions here. What type of dashboards are you guys building?
Yeah, good question. So again, we are the customer experience BI team. So from if anyone out there is an ADT customer, by the way, reach out to me if you have any questions, concerns, problems. just, hey, I'm there. But, end-to-end customer experience. So by the time the customer starts to, unfortunately, if they leave, and anything in between. So any digital interaction, any, high effort strain, our job is to elevate those pain points, and, put programs in place to reduce. So anything from operational metrics to customer experience, talking about the software stack a little bit, we did some text modeling for, NPS surveys, and we're able to elevate, hey, here's some common themes. And it's a pretty powerful bridge to go from, hey, this is just what happened yesterday to this is what they're telling us and what we should do about it. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Does anybody have any questions for Michael? Now's the time to ask in the chat. Let's see, a few more things here. Hey, so yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you is just, you've already sort of started your journey. You're probably, already got a good start. If you were somebody, out of college or just starting journey, what advice, would you give someone?
So this is, I think, not agnostic to Tableau specifically. So hopefully this helps answer the question, but, first and foremost, Tableau specifically is a great tool, but I would say if you're getting started, the tool is one step in the process. Learn how the tool improves the end user or the organization. So don't forget and don't lose sight of that piece. You can build a cool Sankey all day, every day, but if it doesn't deliver, the end user goal or value to the business, then that's, wasted effort. So keep that top of mind. It would be my first tip. Number two, for those things that do drive value, prioritize and execute on those. There's a lot going on with a lot of people and a lot of companies nowadays, especially with COVID. We're all working from home. It's just kind of this weird time. So don't forget to constantly revisit and re-rank your priorities. Easier said than done, but a very powerful, in my opinion, resource. So if you're coming out of college, to your question, Joey, I would say, learn the tool that's valuable, but learn also how that delivers value, and then find those value delivering items and prioritize those and accomplish it accordingly. Common sense, right? But you'd be surprised how everyone gets so busy, it's kind of hard to keep the focus there. Three, back to the skill set. You're not going to have time in your daily career to hone and build additional skills. Take the time to do that. Get up early, stay up late. It's important. It's your career. I would say just prioritize those skill development items. Find a mentor. Reach out to me if I can help in any way. That's the third piece of advice I would just say is, you own your development. Make it a priority in your career and go get it. I think 4 and 5. 4 is, new, working from home. The high performers are easily attached to work and are now finding it hard to get away. So I would say prioritize well-being and health as well. Take a vacation. Just try to disconnect as much as possible. And for me specifically, this is a big objective I'm trying to do better at, because the laptop is here. It's in the house. It's so easy to stay connected. That your family is important as well. Take the time to disconnect. Take a vacation, and then the last one I think is very simple, but just read. I'm a big believer of leaders read, and I don't mean leaders in an organizational standpoint. I don't mean title. I just mean ideas. So I've just screenshot some books here that I've read over the last year, just for fun, for interest. Check them out, but find a topic you're enthused about. Doesn't have to be business related, but I would just say read, expand your mind. So
yeah,
those are some tips.
No, I really appreciate the tips here. Yeah, definitely. You can get in a rut. An individual can get in a rut, or just to, in a very could sort of just get complacent, right? Get in a routine of where, hey, they get up, they just work, they eat dinner, watching TV, go to bed. You know, I definitely agree that you need to dedicate some time each week to learn something new. Go out there, try to get a certification, learn a tool that you may not be using because you may be using it in the future, right? I definitely agree with you. You know, Tableau is a great data viz tool, but there's other tools out there that also provide value. For instance, Python, R, you know, there's some data wrangling transformation tools that are out there. There's RPA now, robotic process automation. That's gonna, to me, it's gonna be big. So yeah, definitely take the time out there to learn something new. Go get a certification. I think Tableau, I guess tomorrow is the end of the month, but through tomorrow is, I think, doing 10% off certifications. So, you know, it's $25 off their $250 associate certification. So, you know, 25 bucks could be a lot. So yeah, definitely, I agree with you at the work home environment. You know, at 10 o'clock every morning, I know it's sort of in the middle of the morning, but I will go for a run just because it's just, you have to step away because it is different now with this routine because it feels like you're always plugged in.
Yep.
So that's for me. Every morning at 10, I'll go for a run. And then it's funny, you have, not funny, but I see the first individual here, you have David Goggins. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he is very intense. He's very motivating.
Yes.
He's no excuses. He's like, this is all on you. You have no one else in the world but yourself to do better. So yeah, I follow him, and I think he's great.
Awesome.
So yeah, we do have a question here from Mohammed. Do you manage Tableau workbooks versions using GitHub? I will address that. Tableau Server has workbook version history, right? So you don't really need a tool outside of Tableau Server to manage your workbook versioning. I think, though, what most organizations do use GitHub for, and I think, Michael, you said this, was use it for a code repository, right?
Yep, that's correct. So at ADT specifically, I mean, large organization, we support different functions of the business. So if we need to, all of our Tableau content is on, a production type scale. And if we make a change to that, it just needs to be in a formalized, organized manner. So yeah, that's how we use it. It's just version control, making sure we're in sync with what's being changed and we have approvals and all that fun stuff. So it's similar. We look at Tableau content creation as like a software delivery cycle. So that's what we use it for.
Cool. All right, Tim, you want to add anything?
No, nothing specific to that. I just saw another question pop up is all. So Seth asks kind of how you've been able to leverage Tableau and get folks using that more especially when they're coming from a more traditional background like Excel. What's that adoption been like?
Great question, and that's something that we're actually facing right now, and I think a lot of companies face, right? So our approach has been first, talking with that user, and what do you like, what do you not like, what do you use, and get a feel for that. And a big thing that's, again, common sense, but for those users, for that base, you do not want to go like 110 creative. You want to start small, of like, hey, here's a crosstab, and then, oh, hey, here's a highlight table, and just kind of bridge that gap slowly. Because if you throw too much at them too fast, you'll lose them. So I would say, in that regard, show them the benefit, show them that you can create something similar, but that's, going to serve a purpose, whether that be automation. You have to prove the value to them or they're not going to switch. And then slowly integrate with the visual best practices. Just don't throw the kitchen sink at them would be my task.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd echo that. And some of my previous experience, what I would do is, give them the visual, but also give them, what they're used to seeing, whether it be a crosstab or what have you. And, there's techniques where you can hide one or the other, and they can bring up, that crosstab or that pivot table as they see fit to provide context. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good question.
Looks like we got one more question here, and it's in regards to Tableau Prep versus Alteryx. Michael, have you had experience with Alteryx?
Only at Tableau conference. So we made an effort to go to the Prep and the Alteryx booth. From my experience from then, Alteryx was just Prep on steroids. So no, other than that, I don't have a lot of demonstrated experience.
Joey, you might have good insight here. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, so I think, I always say that Tableau is Excel on steroids. I've never heard anyone say Alteryx is Prep on steroids, but I would agree with that. To me right now, Prep is not as good as a tool. I think Alteryx is a little bit more versatile. But I think Prep has, Tableau's doing a good job. Alteryx has been around for, 6-7 years. And Tableau has some, Prep has some time to catch up. But I think there's an opportunity there for Tableau to really build Prep into a tool like Alteryx, and then maybe into more of an advanced analytics tool. But for me right now, I use Alteryx just because I'm more comfortable with it. And right now I can do more with it. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, if there's not any more questions, Michael, I'd like to thank you for being here today. It was great to catch up with you.
Yeah, likewise.
One more thing I wanted to ask you. Are you guys expanding your team anytime soon? Are you guys currently hiring?
We are, and I've got that here as well. So 3 positions currently open. Tell your friends. We have a senior analyst open, a manager position open, and a data engineer position open. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to contact me directly. I'll post my email in the chat for everyone to have it. Any questions or referrals would be great.
Awesome. It's the user base here, the community base here is really strong. We've actually at American Airlines referred some individuals from the user group to American, and they've actually hired them. So some of the strongest users, Tableau users that I work with on a daily basis came from this user group. So
Sweet.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, reach out to him. Also, he's on LinkedIn. It's just Michael Darling. And yeah, good luck. All right. Thanks for being here, Michael.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, guys. Next, Steven, if you want to share your screen. So our newest Tableau user group leader, Steven, is going to discuss how he whiteboards. He calls it wireframing. His dashboard. So Steven, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Joey. So I do call it wireframing, mostly because a lot of the things that I did when I was younger was web design, building websites for people. So my natural inclination is referred to as wireframing. What I've seen in the Tableau community is when people are thinking about their visualizations or even their dashboards, it usually comes down to 2 things. How do you plan it and how do you execute on it? For me, I know some individuals may like to write things out. Some people have the notebooks, they draw in those. For me, it doesn't really work with my brain. I like to tinker with things so much and move things around. So I needed to find a tool and a system to do that. So the first question, why Adobe XD as compared to, say, Figma? Or even if you're not familiar with these, what are these tools? Well, Adobe XD and Figma are both UI and UX development tools. They allow you to create artboards similar to like Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop if you've had experience in there. What's interesting about these tools is how quickly you can draft up and mock things up, and how easily it is to export these images and use them for other purposes. For me, what's great about this tool is it allows me to wireframe my visualizations pretty quickly and pretty easily and bring them over to Tableau in a way that is really without a lot of pain in the butt there. So what I'm going to do and what I'm going to demonstrate today is show you a little bit how that process works, how I start thinking about these things, show you how I pull that into Excel, not Excel, wow, showing my age there, pulling it into Tableau and how I use that tool. So just to start with here, what I have, I'm not going to go through how you download Adobe XD. I'm happy to connect with anyone who has questions about that. What I have here is a basic Adobe XD artboard. So when I click this, you can see it's 850 by 700. Just for a little bit of context, I have a Tableau dashboard on another screen set up at that same size. You'll see why that's important later, but mostly we want to make sure that we're designing and wireframing with the exact visualization size that we'll be using in Tableau, so the dashboard size there. So what do I mean by wireframing? Okay, so I'm going to zoom out here, and I want to show you a little bit of the elements that I have. These are elements that I've just collected. I use them as stand-ins for my actual visualization pieces. So what I'm assuming here is that in Tableau, you've already done your exploratory data analysis. You kind of have an idea of what visualization makes the most sense. So bar chart, line chart, what have you there. Having that information allows you to make a really great design in Adobe XD, which you can bring into Tableau. And this is the process that I use for all of mine, all of my visualizations. So I have a blank canvas here. What I may do in here is start thinking about, okay, well, how do I want it to look? In this case, I might think, all right, well, I need to bring in some text. So what's cool about wireframing is that you don't have to worry about making it look exactly as you need it to. You don't need to worry about making the text match just yet. You can actually just start bringing things in. So I might do something like this. So I may just select an item, and I'm just going to ungroup. I'm just going to select, we'll go with a text item here. So if I drag this and I hold down Alt, I had this need the select tool. If I drag this and hold down Alt, I can start bringing things over here. So I see that I have some text going on here. I may want to make this a little bit larger. So what I'll do is I'll bring this back, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull this guy over here. And then I'm going to remove this for now. So now I have kind of a headliner. Then I might think, okay, well, I need a little bit of text going on. So I can drag this guy over here. Now I have a little bit of text that's happening. Looks like these guys are grouped together. So we'll just ungroup those there. Now I have some text. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and change this text up so I can use the text tool to do that. Let's see here. So we'll go ahead and erase some of this text. I think what I want to do for my design in this is just keep a byline going. So we'll just have that like that. Don't worry about making the text reflect anything. We're looking to bring together the idea for right now. So there's that. I may think that I want to bring a divider into this visualization here. So I'll go ahead and use my select tool. I'll grab this divider. I'll bring the divider into here. Now we're starting to think about how this layout might look. So we'll start thinking about spacing. What's cool about Adobe XD as well is that you get those little guidelines. So you can see if things are lining up. You can measure the gap between things. It really allows you to bring things all together and make sure that they're looking right. So I have that, moving this guy up here. And then we can bring this here. Now, next we want to think about what our charts might be. I have some example charts. So if I bring this guy over, I'll just go ahead and alt drag this. We can change this guy. Remember, we're just thinking about blocking out elements. So I have a chart here. I may think about bringing in a text element for this chart. So I'll make sure that I have room for this. Go ahead and bring this in. We'll probably make this smaller so I can change the text here. I'm bringing that in. Now I have a little bit of chart. I have a little bit of text going on here. Maybe this is a little bit too much text. So I'll get rid of that. Next, what I'm going to do is, I'll move this down a little bit here. I may think about having, say, a byline. So I could bring this top little piece here, and I'll make this, keep that like that. Okay, so here's, with what we have here is a basic kind of wireframe of a visualization. This, we have our stand-in here, and notice I have a box here. Sometimes if I want to be a little bit cheeky, I'll use a box versus a chart. It just depends on how my brain is feeling. Boxes work well because you can just grab those boxes and start moving those over. So you can do something like this and block off the area of where your chart might be. The intent of this is to kind of get that mindset around where will all my elements fit together. What I've found in Tableau is, because it's always going to show you really what that true sense is, you can't really get a bird's eye view on your visualizations. So here we can zoom in and see what it might look like as we get closer. We can zoom out, we can see how it might appear in those different fashions, and you can't do that in Tableau. And it's super important, I think, for visualizations especially, to be able to get that top-down view. So here's where the magic happens and what makes this an interesting tool for Tableau viz development is we have all of our elements that we're going to use for our visualization here. So now we're going to bring this into Tableau. So the first thing I'm going to do is, now that I already know where the area of my chart's going to be, I can go ahead and remove those. And then what I can do is select these elements. I can then group them together, and I can export those. So what I can do is export the selected items, and you can see here you can bring the different assets into different folders. I'm going to bring this to my design folder. I'm going to put that somewhere here. I'll do this here. And then I will make a new folder here. You guys may not be able to see this because it's a pop-up. Don't worry about this. What I'm doing is just saving these items into a folder so that I can access them later. Okay, now I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna bring us back to Tableau. Now I have that same dashboard, 850 by 700. What I am going to do now is select floating, and I can just go ahead and drag that into here. Can choose the image. So I will select what I was just working on. Bring that in. Make sure fit image is not selected. I'm going to hit apply and then OK. So what's cool is that now that you have already blocked out the spacing and everything for your visualizations there in Tableau, in Adobe XD, you can take those elements and start positioning them in the correct place on your Tableau dashboard, and then bring in, say, your chart elements. So now I'm bringing in my chart elements. I made this chart earlier just for design purposes here. And then I'll hide the title. Perfect. So this starts to give me an idea of what my design will look like. Now, I want to be clear with you guys is that you're going to have to refine this. You go back and forth, you start thinking about that, but having that high level overview of what's going on with your viz allows you to better refine it. And this, using the same process, is where I created this very simple visualization here, which was talking about wire-bridden meat eaters reluctant to try animal-free products. And I used the same process in Adobe XD, designed it there, and then brought it over. And yeah, that is it. So any questions here?
It doesn't look like there's any questions yet, Stephen.
Cool.
But thank you. That was awesome. When I was kind of a Tableau newbie, I didn't do a ton of wireframing or whiteboarding. And to that point, my dashboards always ended up kind of hodgepodge, or things mashed together with no real plan. You know, I've been talking to some folks on Twitter, and the point they've made is whiteboarding is so valuable because it gives you an endpoint, right? It gives you a goal or a finish line of what you're trying to accomplish. So anyone that hasn't whiteboarded in the past and don't have an experience with it as you're building your visuals or your dashboards, I would let's just give it a shot, give it a chance. It really helps kind of you know, get that finished product out there and get complete vision before you even get started in Tableau.
Yeah, Tim, I agree with that. And one of the things that for me when I joined the Tableau community is I used to see so many beautiful visualizations that came out, and I would wonder, like, how are those down? How are those done? How are they able to get the spacing to look right? How are they able to get the overall sense of flow to look right? And it's extremely hard to do that, I think, in Tableau without some external tool that allows you to view your dashboard from that high level. You can see how it looks in small print. You can see how it looks large. You can also start blocking out your elements. And like you said, it gives you an endpoint. You know what your design should be. And then you can start building that out versus kind of pulling those pieces on and trying to build a dashboard, which is to me kind of like building an airplane while flying it in that sense.
Yeah. So there was one question. Nick just asked about the software you're using. It was Adobe XD, is that correct?
Yes, Adobe XD.
Okay, excellent. All right, so if there are any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat here or the Q&A, and Stephen will check them out as we're going forward here. All right, so thank you, Stephen. I think Joey, you're up next, yeah?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that that demo for the fact that, you know, everyone does it a little bit different. I think I'm very guilty of just building on the fly, you know, building the airplane while I'm flying it. I used to do whiteboarding a lot. Now I just start building and just sort of as I go. But I think I should definitely look into Adobe XD and see maybe how I can leverage it to design or whiteboard my dashboards going forward. So thanks for sharing that, Stephen. All right, I will share my screen and talk about the Tableau tip of the month. So, you know, there's a lot of different tips out there, a lot of great material. Tim has his resources and shot me over a few links, and I looked at them. I thought they were good. I thought they were great. But then I sort of went off the reservation and said, you know what, I'm going to talk about combined fields. And I brought it up to Tim, and Tim was like, huh, okay. I don't think anyone really uses this technique too much. But I do use it because people will come to me and they'll say, what is the main driver, right? And so I have a dashboard with different charts or different graphs with different dimensions, right? Maybe if you want to look at aviation, you know, you're showing things as by aircraft type, by station, which is the origin of the flight, destination, where it's going, different types of maintenance codes, and different types of, you know, different time of day. So there's different dimensions that we're always looking at. In some cases, they just want to know what's the main driver, right? Which combination of dimensions is driving performance, either good or bad. And so what I'm using here is just Superstore, but the way I go about it is, delete this. What I will say is, okay, what dimensions do we want to evaluate as possibly being a main driver? So what I'll do here is Superstore, you have category. Let's look at product name. Let's look at subcategory, and then look at state. And then, oops, go back and highlight those. Right, and it's real simple, very similar to creating a set. I'm gonna right click, create, and then combine field. And what it does is it just combines those dimensions for you. and just renames it, right? Which whatever the dimensions you picked. You can also go in here and you can edit the order, right? So maybe I want to have, you know, category, subcategory, maybe state first. So now I can say, okay, I have my state, category, subcategory, and product name. And then let's say I want to just do a scatter plot. I'll do this a lot with my scatter plots. So let's say I want to double click on sales. I want to double click on profit. Maybe I want to switch these. I want profit on my y-axis there. Actually, no, I do want it on the x. And then all I have to do now is just drag my combined field to detail. And now I can see that, hey, yeah, I have a lot of sales here with this product. So Florida technology machines, and here's the actual product name, video conferencing unit. A lot of sales, 22,000, but my profit's pretty low. So it's just a really quick and easy way to identify, based off the dimensions you want to evaluate, identify the main drivers, good or bad. And then, you know, you can pretty it up a bit. And let's say maybe I want to drag profit to color. And then, you know, I typically, when I do scatter plots, I'll do a circle here. And then, you know, maybe I'll add an outline, right? And then maybe I also want to then do a crosstab. And so now let's hide this. And then I can make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. And then I want maybe to sort this in ascending order, right? So this is my worst, profit-wise, my worst performing combination, right? And then if I come here to my Tableau tip, and then I start dragging these over, there's one thing I want to point out when I was building this that I forgot. And I want to make sure you guys are aware of it. Get rid of that. All right. So a real cheap and easy way to create a filter, if I was to click here for it to filter this, you know, you can just click here on the use as filter, right? But when you use a combined field, if I click on this, it's not going to filter this. It's because the combined field, not the best way to explain it, but the combined field is not going to be used as a filter. You can't filter it like that. So what you have to do, just FYI, because if you run into this issue, is you have to drag each individual dimension to the marks card. So drag category, I'll drag product name, drag subcategory, and then category. Oops, I already did category. What am I missing? Cancel. Missing state. All right, so now if I go back, it'll work, right? I can see, hey, this is the combination, right? Maybe I want to lasso a few. Oops. Right, and then I can say, hey, Ohio technology, North Carolina technology, a lot of technology. It's printers and something else. So quick and easy way to really determine which segments are driving good or bad. All right. Are there any questions regarding this? Now, some people will be like, hey, I don't ever use combined fields. I have no need for it. I do use it because I think it's an easy way. Because what I'll do is I'll create different combinations and then create a parameter that allows the user to select, okay, I want to look at this by aircraft type, by station. I want to look at this by aircraft type, by station, by hour of day. I allow the user to determine which different combinations they want to evaluate. So, all right, any questions? Tim, how's the chat looking? Empty?
Good, yeah, no questions yet.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys benefited from that. I don't know.
Yeah, I personally, I didn't know combined fields couldn't be used as a filter, so that was good to know. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't find that out till the hard way, till I was doing it. So
I think I disagree with Tim in that I think this is definitely a tip. So thank you for sharing.
Well, to be fair, I don't know that I said it wasn't a tip. I just said I don't use them a ton, I think was my exact term.
Yeah,
So-
to be fair, yeah, he said, I don't really use them too much, but anyways. All right, if there's no questions, you guys, please feel free to always reach out to us. And Tim, I'll let you go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, so I just want to say thanks for everyone for joining us today. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Twitter, feel free to join us at those two spots below that you see on your screen there. I would also add that we're always looking to grow the team. So if you have interest in either presenting or kind of joining the leadership team and help putting a meeting together yourself, we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us a message, any of the three of us, and we'll set something up to chat. Joey, Stephen, any final thoughts before we?
Yeah, so one thing we don't have on here is you guys go ahead and follow Tim and follow Stephen on Twitter. Tim, what's your handle?
TIIVN.
Okay. All right, Stephen, what's your Twitter handle there?
I just put it in the chat, and it's at Stalsh.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, I think you had one of your vises retweeted by the CEO of Tableau.
I did. That was very cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Good
Awesome.
stuff.
So yeah, you guys make sure you guys connect with all of us on LinkedIn. Again, Real North Texas Tableau User Group, and follow these guys on Twitter. I'm not on there doing anything, but these guys definitely are very active. So, all right.
Thanks, everybody. And we will be posting our next meeting soon. So keep a lookout for that. And thanks for joining us.
Oh, and one more thing. This is recorded, and you guys will get the link post.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys.